Welcome back with another movie review. We are here from Minervagallery today, and today let's talk in deep about the Malayalam film which was released in 2020. The name of the movie is See You Soon. We live in a world full of modern technology. When we compare countries such as Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, which are known as developing countries in the world, and when we compare those countries with European and American countries, actually we can place all of these countries on a similar stage in terms of modern technology and developing technological appliances and instruments. Also, in this modern world, with the development of technology and people being digitalized a lot, people tend to live in an imaginary world. They love to and they choose to live in this imaginary world which they create by themselves. Actually, is this world that much beautiful? If we dive deep into the reality, we meet the realistic world which is quite harsh than the original, than the imaginary world. With the neoliberal system which prevails in the world at the moment, most of the people in all over the world, they tend to go after money in search of imaginary worlds, in search of their imaginary belongings which they crave for. This is where the movie See You Soon comes into action. Actually, this movie, which was shot during the COVID pandemic, unfolds entirely on a computer screen. Now, you may ask or you may have a question, would this film not be boring if it continuously unfolds on a computer screen? But no, the director Mahesh Narayanan has done a tremendous job in keeping the audience consistently curious about the plot of the movie and how the movie unfolds. So, when talking about the plot of this movie, there are three main characters in this film, and the plot mainly revolves around a girl, a lady, Anu, who is a victim of a huge human trafficking system in India. And also the third person in this movie, apart from that couple, Kevin, which is played by the leading Malayalam actor Fahadh Faasil, is one of the most important characters in this film because Kevin acts as the mediator between the boyfriend and his lover in this film. And also he acts as the mediator between that couple and the audience, who conveys the emotions of the couple to the audience through his screen. In the plot of the story, there are three main characters, as I mentioned earlier: Jimmy, Anu, who are the lovers, and also Kevin, who is the cousin of Jimmy, who actually helps Jimmy throughout this entire story. The relationship between Jimmy and Anu, which starts off with just a simple text message in a dating app, accelerates into a romantic relationship. But actually, eventually, the things that are happening to them is on what the story is built upon. So, overall, this story tells us how relationships and trust can be built within a very short period of time and also can be scattered into pieces within just a very short period of time as well. But beneath it, this film focuses on a huge black issue in South Asian countries, mostly in South Asian countries, including India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and even in Sri Lanka. So that issue is human trafficking. Here, Anu, who is an Indian girl by birth, is brought into Dubai by fraud. She was told that she is offered a very good and a prestigious job in Dubai, but actually she is not. She's taken into prostitution and clubbing and etc. without her consent, without her likely. So this is a matter, this is a problem in this world, which is not just a simple problem, but it's actually in a huge scale. Many movies have been made focusing on this issue, but I think Narayanan's See You Soon focuses on the deep down of this issue. We first hand experiences the emotions and the pain of the victim, who is Anu, who is victimized in this situation. In this neoliberal system, Jimmy, Anu and Kevin, all of them are distanced even from their motherland, India. Jimmy is very much distant from his own mother, and even Kevin. So, but actually, Jimmy falls in love with this girl Anu, despite of the differences, despite of the distance barriers. They tend to find love online, even online, from the only platform which they can find love on. So this evokes the feeling that humans are meant to be together, not as lone animals, no lone creatures. Humans are meant to be together. So that's why Jimmy and Anu here seeks each other. And even Kevin, although he quarrels with his girlfriend, his boss, he at some point he can't live without her girlfriend. He can't live without the help of his girlfriend. He goes on to her and asks for her help. So this is what this film is about. Humanism is all about relationships and the bond among the loved ones. Not only human trafficking, many devastating businesses such as illegal organ trafficking and even drug smuggling are very common black issues in these South Asian countries. But actually, so we see this problem through Anu's experience, and fortunately Anu manages to escape herself back to her country. But just think, how many of these victims are still there, just suffering and suffering day by day, without having anyone to rescue them, without having anyone to act as refugees. So this is the problem that Narayanan speaks about. And also, when talking or reviewing about this movie, the performances of these actors should be credited heavily, especially the character of Kevin, which is played by Fahadh Faasil. He is the person, as I mentioned earlier, who mediates in between the two characters and the audience, and we see every incident, like almost every incident in this movie, through the eyes of Kevin, through the first person experiences of Kevin. When Kevin discovers something about Anu, that's the moment when we discovers that same thing about Anu. So the director has scripted this Kevin's character very beautifully and very realistically, where we can even feel the emotion. And also Fahadh Faasil plays a huge talented role here, where his emotions even talks to our hearts, where we can feel his emotion, his helplessness, where he cannot communicate with Jimmy about his findings. And also when talking about Jimmy and Anu, Roshan Mathew and Darshana Rajendran, who are very talented Malayali actors, and they play a tremendous job in their characters, where they also absolutely speaks to our heart. We feel the pain of Anu, we feel the pain of that character, how she suffers, how she is violated, how she is trafficked into Dubai without her own consent. And also when speaking about the technological side of this movie, can you believe that this entire film was shot with an iPhone? No cinema cameras, no DSLRs, no mirrorless cameras, just iPhones. So this is when this is when the director has been creative. And also the entire film unfolds, as I mentioned earlier, the entire film unfolds in a computer screen, in Kevin's and Jimmy's computer screens. So the talent of the director to keep on the audience attached to this plot, to keep the audience curious throughout the film, is truly creditable. And also these two actors, Matthew Roshan and Darshana Rajendran, they acted recently in the Sri Lankan movie Paradise, which was directed by Prasanna Vittanage. This Paradise movie also calls out to the Sri Lankan audience, focusing on another crisis issue that prevailed in the country a couple of years ago. We'll be reviewing about that film in another video in the future. So before concluding, I like to ask you a question. Just really think about this. Are we surrounded by our loved ones? Are we in good relationships with our loved ones in this modern digital world? We are not. Actually, we are not. Now, at the present, our generations have been abandoned by our relationships and our loved ones. We are now acting as solo individuals. But just remember, humans are not meant to be alone. Humans were and are always a group of companions. So with that note to think, let's conclude our film review discussion today. See you soon.